I've spent my whole life building wealth, not just chasing it, but understanding how it grows and what can tear it down. From dropping out of Harvard to start Microsoft in a garage in 1975 to becoming one of the richest people on the planet, I've learned a lot about money. And after turning 70 this year, I can tell you something with absolute certainty. Most people aren't poor because they don't make enough. They're poor because they buy the wrong things. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and how you make it work for you. I didn't get here by splurging on every whim. I got here by being smart about what I spend and investing the rest wisely. I started with nothing but an idea, and through discipline, patience, and a lot of hard work, I turned that into billions. But along the way, I watched so many people, even smart ones, sabotage their own success by pouring money into things that don't last and don't grow. And that's what makes this simple and complicated at the same time. These wrong things don't look wrong at first. They look normal. Everyone's buying them. Society tells you that you should buy them. They might even make you feel good temporarily, but they're destroying your wealth silently, slowly, year after year, like termites eating away at the foundation of a house. You don't see the damage until it's too late. I've always believed in saving like a pessimist and investing like an optimist. Prepare for the worst when it comes to spending, but bet on the future when it comes to real opportunities. That's how I built Microsoft. Frugal on the day-to-day, bold on the vision. Today I want to talk about 5 things that most people buy without thinking twice. 5 things that seem harmless, maybe even necessary. But if you want to get rich, really rich, you need to stop buying them immediately. And I'm not talking about tiny luxuries. I'm talking about major wealth killers. The kinds of decisions that can cost you hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars over your lifetime. I've seen it happen to friends, colleagues, even people in tech who made fortunes and lost them just as fast because they forgot the basics, build skills that never go out of style, like learning to code or understanding business fundamentals, and avoid the traps that drain your resources. Let's get into it, because knowledge is power, and applying it is what builds empires. The first one, and the biggest wealth destroyer I see in modern society, is new cars. Now, I know what you're thinking. Everybody needs a car. How is that a wealth destroyer? It's not cars themselves, it's new cars. Brand new cars that people buy straight off the lot. A new car is one of the worst financial decisions you can make, and yet millions of people do it every year. They walk into a dealership, they smell that new car smell, and they sign their financial freedom away. Here's why. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses about 10 to 20% of its value immediately. You haven't even made it home yet, and you've already lost thousands of dollars. Then over the next 5 years, that car loses about 60% of its value. So a $40,000 car becomes a $16,000 car. You've lost $24,000 just by owning it. But it gets worse, because most people don't buy cars with cash, they finance them. So now you're not just losing money to depreciation, you're paying interest too. Let's do the math. You buy a $40,000 car, you finance it over 5 years at 5% interest. Your monthly payment is about $754. Over 5 years, you'll pay about $45,240 total. And at the end of those 5 years, your car is worth about $16,000. So you paid about $45,000 to own something worth $16,000. You lost $29,000, almost $30,000 gone. And what kills me is what that same $30,000 could have become if you invested it instead at 10% annual returns. In 30 years, it would be worth about $523,000. Over $500,000 from one decision, one choice to not buy a new car. And it's not just one car. Most people buy a new car every 5 to 7 years, so they repeat that mistake again and again. over a lifetime, we're talking about millions of dollars in lost wealth. Look, I love cars. I've had a collection of Porsches that I've enjoyed over the years, like my 959, one of the first I bought after Microsoft took off. But I didn't go crazy buying new ones every year. I bought them because they were special to me, not to show off. I've always been careful with cars. I buy reliable, practical cars, and I drive them until they can't be driven anymore. People think that's strange. They say, Bill, you're worth over $100 billion. Why do you watch your spending like that? And I tell them, because a car is transportation. It gets me from point A to point B. A new car doesn't get me there any better than a used one. So why would I waste money on it? I've worn a simple $10 Casio watch for years. Practical, does the job, no need for flashy jewelry. That mindset matters. A car is not a status symbol. It's a tool, a depreciating tool that costs you money every single day you own it. If you want to get rich, stop buying new cars. Buy a reliable used car that's 5 to 7 years old, pay cash for it, drive it for 10 years or more. Invest every dollar you're saving by not having a car payment. That one decision can make you wealthy over time. And avoiding debt like car loans frees you up to take calculated risks elsewhere, like starting a side business or investing in stocks. Take big risks only after you've secured your basics. The second thing you need to stop buying if you want to get rich is a house that's too expensive for your income. I'm not saying don't buy a house. Owning a home can be a good financial decision if you do it right, but most people don't. They buy too much house. They stretch themselves to the absolute limit of what a bank will lend them. And banks are happy to lend you as much as possible because they make money on the interest. They don't care if you're house poor. They don't care if you have no money left to invest. Here's what happens. A bank tells someone making $100,000 a year that they can afford a $400,000 house, and the person thinks, great, I'm approved for $400,000, I should buy a $400,000 house. That's insane. Just because a bank will lend you money doesn't mean you should borrow it. Banks qualify you based on debt-to-income ratios designed to maximize their profits, not your wealth. A $400,000 house with 20% down means a $320,000 mortgage at 4% interest over 30 years. That's about $1,500 a month in principal and interest. Add property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and you're looking at $2,000 to $2,500 a month easily. That's $25,000 to $30,000 a year on a $100,000 income. That's 25 to 30% of your gross income. After taxes, you can be spending 40% or more of your take-home pay on housing. And what's left for investing for building wealth? Almost nothing. You become house rich and cash poor. Your money is locked up in equity you can't access unless you sell or borrow against it. I bought the land for my house in Medina, Washington, back in 1988 for $2 million. Sure, I invested in making it high tech over the years, automated lighting, art displays, but I could have afforded way more even then. I didn't need more. It was comfortable, it was in a good location, it was enough, and because I kept my housing costs reasonable relative to my income at the time, I had money to invest, to buy stocks, to build businesses. That's how I built wealth. Not by living in the biggest house I could afford, but by living in a modest one and investing the difference. Here's my rule. Your house should cost no more than 2.5 to 3 times your annual income, ideally less. So if you make $100,000 a year, you should be looking at $250,000 to $300,000, not $400,000. Put at least 20% down to avoid PMI, and get a 15-year mortgage, not a 30-year one. Pay it off fast so you're not paying interest for decades. Most people do the opposite, maximum house, minimum down, 30-year mortgage. Then they wonder why they can't get ahead. Your home should support your wealth building, not prevent it. It should be a place to live, not a financial anchor that drowns you in payments and maintenance. The third thing you need to stop buying is brand new furniture and home decor. People don't think of furniture as a major expense, but it adds up fast. A new couch costs $2,000. A dining room set, $3,000. Bedroom furniture, a few thousand more. Decorations, artwork, rugs, lamps. Before you know it, you've spent $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 furnishing your house. And for what? Furniture is furniture. It serves a function. Brand new furniture doesn't do these things better than gently used furniture. But people buy new because they want that showroom feeling. They want to impress. And stores are happy to sell it, often with financing at high interest rates. So now you're paying interest on furniture. That's losing value too, because furniture depreciates, especially modern pieces that aren't built to last. What wealthy people do is simple. They buy used furniture, they shop estate sales, garage sales, thrift stores, online marketplaces. They find quality pieces for a fraction of retail price, or they buy new furniture slowly over many years, starting with essentials and adding pieces only when they can pay cash. They don't furnish an entire house in one shopping trip on store credit. I've had some of the same furniture for decades. Some I bought used. Some I bought new and kept forever because it still works fine. I've never understood redecorating constantly just because styles change. Now the numbers, let's say you spend $30,000 furnishing your home with new furniture, which is common today. If instead you bought used for $10,000, and you absolutely can if you're patient and shop smart, you save $20,000, invest that $20,000 at 10% returns for 30 years, and it becomes about $349,000, about $350,000 from choosing used furniture over new. That's real money. That's financial freedom. Most people won't do it because they think used is beneath them, but that preference costs them dearly. If you want to get rich, stop buying new furniture, buy used, buy slowly, buy only what you actually need, and invest the difference. The fourth thing you need to stop buying is the latest technology and gadgets. The newest iPhone every year, a new laptop, even though your current one works fine, smart home devices, gaming systems, tablets, smartwatches, wireless earbuds, all the gadgets companies convince you that you need, but you don't need them. They're wants, not needs. And they become outdated almost immediately. A new iPhone costs $1,000 or more, and every year a new model comes out and millions of people upgrade even though their current phone works perfectly fine. Here's a simple example. If you buy a new iPhone every 2 years instead of every year, that's about $500 a year saved. Over 40 years of adult life, that's $20,000 saved. But it's not just $20,000. It's $20,000 invested at 10% returns over 40 years, which becomes about $979,000, almost $1 million. And that's just phones. The same logic applies to laptops, tablets, televisions, and everything else. Even though I founded Microsoft and love innovation, I don't chase every new gadget. I use what works efficiently. My focus is on technology that truly adds value, not distractions. I don't need the fanciest smartphone. I need what keeps me connected and productive. Keeping it simple costs almost nothing. It doesn't need constant upgrades. It doesn't distract you. It doesn't drain your money through unnecessary apps or subscriptions. Technology should be a tool, not a status symbol. I'm not saying ditch your phone. I'm saying keep it for 4 or 5 years instead of 2. Buy last year's model at a discount. Take care of your devices so they last. A laptop that's a few years old can still do what most people need. You don't need the latest processor unless you're doing specialized work that truly requires it. Most people upgrade because they want to feel current, because advertising tells them old tech is worthless. Wealthy people see through that. They use tech until it stops working or becomes truly obsolete. Every dollar you don't spend on unnecessary upgrades is a dollar that can compound into wealth. The fifth and final thing you need to stop buying if you want to get rich is luxury experiences you can't afford. Expensive vacations, first-class flights, five-star hotels, designer restaurants, VIP concert tickets, luxury cruises, all the experiences people justify with "you only live once and I'm making memories." I'm not against experiences. Balance matters. But there's a difference between enjoying life affordably and spending money you don't have on luxuries you can't afford. Most people don't make that distinction. They see friends posting vacation photos, feel like they're missing out, and book trips they can't afford, often on credit cards. A luxury vacation can easily cost $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for 1 week, and then it's over. And you're left with photos, memories, and debt. What kills me is people will spend $10,000 on a vacation and then say they can't afford to invest. They'll claim they don't have money for retirement, but they have money for a luxury cruise. Priorities are backwards. They're choosing temporary pleasure over permanent security, 1 week of luxury over years of financial freedom. Take vacations you can afford. If you can't pay cash without harming your investment goals, you can't afford it. Want to travel? Great. Do it cheaper. Road trips instead of flights, camping instead of hotels, cook some meals instead of eating out every meal. You can make incredible memories without spending a fortune. I'll be honest, I regret not taking more vacations early on. When I was building Microsoft, I worked weekends and didn't believe in time off. Now I know balance matters. I've traveled a lot for business and philanthropy, but I've never felt the need to stay in five-star hotels constantly or fly first class every time, though I do offset my flights with sustainable fuel. A fancy hotel room is just a place to sleep. A first-class seat gets you to the same destination at the same time as economy. The price tag doesn't decide the memory, but it absolutely decides your wealth. Now, the devastating math. Say someone takes 2 luxury vacations a year at $10,000 each. That's $20,000 a year over 30 years. That's $600,000 spent. But if they took budget vacations instead, say $5,000 a year total, and invested the other $15,000 at 10% returns, that becomes about $2.4 million. That's the real cost of luxury vacations, not just what you spend, but what that money could have grown into. And budget vacations can be just as memorable, sometimes more, because the best memories usually depend on who you're with and what you do, not how much you paid. Now let me recap, because this matters. If you want to get rich, stop buying new cars. Buy used, reliable vehicles, drive them for years. 2 houses that are too expensive, buy less house than you can afford so you can invest. 3, brand new furniture and decor. Buy used, buy slowly, buy only what you need. 4, the latest technology and gadgets. Use what you have until it truly needs replacing. 5, luxury experiences you can't afford. Travel affordably and invest the difference. If you eliminate these 5 things, you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions over your lifetime, and that money invested consistently can make you wealthy. But the hard part is doing it, because all of this looks normal. Everyone around you is buying these things. Society tells you to. You'll feel like you're missing out. You may be judged. People will think you're cheap. They'll wonder why you drive an old car, live in a modest house, or don't take fancy vacations. You have to decide what matters more, the approval of people who are probably broke themselves or your own financial freedom. I chose freedom a long time ago, and I've never regretted it, not for 1 second. Freedom is worth more than any car, house, or vacation. You can make the same choice starting today. You can redirect money away from wealth-destroying habits and toward investments that grow and compound. It takes discipline. It takes being willing to be different. It takes delaying gratification and thinking long term, but it works. The secret to getting rich isn't making more money. Plenty of people earn a lot and stay broke because they spend it all. The secret is not spending money on things that don't build wealth. So make a commitment, look at your spending and identify which of these 5 things you're buying. Stop financing new cars. Stop stretching for too much house. Stop buying furniture you don't need. Stop upgrading your technology constantly. Stop taking luxury vacations you can't afford. Redirect every dollar into investments, into index funds, into dividend-paying stocks, into assets that grow and compound year after year. Do it consistently for 10, 20, 30 years, and you will be wealthy, not because you got lucky, but because you had the discipline to stop buying what destroys wealth and start buying what builds it. That's the formula. It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes courage to live below your means, to drive an old car when you could finance a new one, to choose a modest home when you could stretch for something bigger, to make smart choices when everyone else is buying the illusion of success. But that courage pays off with wealth that lasts, freedom that compounds, and a life lived on your own terms. So viewers, stop buying these 5 things today, start building real wealth, and enjoy the freedom that comes with it. Go make better choices with your money now. You've got this.